You need to accept reality. It's one thing to accept the fact life isn't fair, this is cruel, I don't deserve this. It's a whole nother ballgame to accept that this is what has happened and it's not changing. And the longer that you hold on to the wish that this didn't happen, the longer you hold on to this wish, the longer you prolong your own suffering. I mean, most of human suffering, our internal pain, our anguish, it comes from the desire to have things be different than how they are. You know, there's one quote I love from the poet Rumi. Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you.
In this suffering, there has to be some kind of growth. With every obstacle, I look at it as friction now. Without friction, there's no growth. You have to have friction in your life to grow. So I start looking at all these different things versus the woe is me mentality. Like, oh my God, look at my life's so perfect. I start looking at it as the perfect trial ground. Try to flip it upside down and say, okay, I'm suffering tremendously, mentally. Use this to your advantage versus your disadvantage. So that's what I did. Versus looking at it as like, oh my God, woe is me, I'm never gonna get out of here. I looked at it as, okay, hang on a second. If I can overcome this, if I can find some power in this, some way to get through this, that right there will be the fuel for the rest of my life.
Why aren't you getting better every day? There is no good reason to voluntarily go to bed a worse version of yourself than you were when you woke up. You know who does that? You know who chooses to move the needle backwards every single day? People you don't want to be. All the people that are living the life that you're not interested in, with their job that they hate, with their income that they hate, with their relationships that they hate, with their body that they hate. By voluntarily not getting better, you are doing the same thing that they're doing. They might be further along in the process than you are, but you're still doing the same thing. You are going down the same path that they are choosing to go down. And before you go to bed tonight, I just want you to think about which path you went down today.
I actually think the greatest consequence in life is not keeping commitments to yourself. So, isn't it really lovely to know that maybe the way to turn that into a positive, upward reinforcing spiral is just keep that tiny commitment you made to yourself today. When you said you were going to get in bed at 10 p.m., you do that. And you stack that. Like, yesterday's out of play. But the next thing you do in the next hour, can you keep that commitment to yourself?
We've all heard it. It's always darkest before the dawn. You have to push through the hard to get to the place you're trying to get to. Tell me one good thing in your life that came without stress and anxiety. It does not exist. And when you feel the highest pressure, the highest stress, and the highest anxiety, when you're in the pursuit of something greater, it's a good indication that you're actually on the right path. It's a position that you want to actually be in, because once you push through this time of extreme stress, pressure, and anxiety, on the other side is the promised land that you've been looking for. So my advice would be lean into this, give it another 6 months, and what will happen is you're going to look back and be like, man, I can't believe I thought it was that hard.
You can convince yourself your entire life that you're weak and incapable, but maybe you just never put yourself in a trying situation that required more of you. Our self-confidence, self-esteem isn't based on how we look or even what we think we can be, but on evidence of what we've already overcome in the past and what we're still giving each and every day. If you've always avoided challenges, bailed out when the water gets hot, quit after failing just once at anything, then you will forever see yourself as inadequate and incomplete because it's all you know. It's all you've ever fed yourself. So convince yourself otherwise and push yourself. For once in your life, finish that hard run. Give up going out and study more for one more night than you're used to. Look at how much your body's changed over just sticking to the plan for just a few months, and tell me these accomplishments aren't the greatest highs you ever felt in your entire life. Tell me you still feel underachieving and undeserving of the happiness and personal accomplishments that have escaped you for so long. Stick with the hard problems for longer, especially when all that self-doubt and negative thoughts come out. They're not signs for you to take your foot off the gas and give up again. They're signs for you to push forward to somewhere you've never gone before, because the growth you're looking for can only be found through the adversity that you're so afraid of. You know, man, everything you want is on the other side of just a little more push than you're used to. That's the only currency you'll ever need to save your life from yourself.
The root cause of the quitter isn't that you can't do 100 push-ups. You can train anybody to do that. The root cause of the quitter is when you get in hell, you can't process it. It's too much to process. Because your mind starts going back to the real reality of like, I'm not ready, I'm not good enough. It's not trained. So I started training this, realizing that the only thing that makes me quit is not the muscle fatigue, it's the mental fatigue that makes me quit everything in life. So I became a practitioner of the mind. The mind's a very powerful thing. It has a tactical advantage over you all the time. It knows your fears, it knows your insecurities, it knows where you don't want to go. So it will guide you away from that. And that's why the mind will always win until you reprogram it. It'll always win until you can reprogram it. Because the mind controls you. Why is that? It's your fucking mind. It's your mind. Because all those things that happen to you in your life, all those bad things, all those things that you blame other people for, they're now yours to own. You got to figure out a way to reprogram your mind to get outside the box.
There's a moment in life that breaks you. A moment when everything you thought you had, everything you built, everything you believed in, collapses. Maybe it's the loss of someone you loved. Maybe it's a dream that crumbled. A failure so massive that you don't even recognize yourself anymore. Maybe it's the weight of years of mistakes, pain, regret, rock bottom, a place where you feel empty, under lost. When you're there, it feels permanent. It feels like the end. Like the best parts of life are behind you. Like you have nothing left to give. But listen to me. Rock bottom is not the end. It's the foundation. I know it doesn't feel that way now. But one day you'll look back and realize that this moment, this painful, unbearable, earth-shattering moment, was the beginning of something greater. The art of rising after hitting rock bottom isn't about going back to who you used to be. It's about becoming someone new, stronger, wiser, unbreakable. And it starts right now. The first step to rebuilding is accepting reality. Not running from it. Not pretending it's not happening. Facing it head on. This is where you are. This is your starting point. But this is not who you are. The mistake people make when they hit rock bottom is that they think they're stuck there forever. They let their circumstances become their identity. I failed, so I must be a failure. I lost everything, so I must be worthless. I made mistakes, so I must be broken beyond repair. None of that is true. You are not your rock bottom. You are the person who will rise from it. Acceptance isn't giving up. It's simply saying, this is where I am right now, but it's not where I'm going to stay. Let's be real. You're not going to feel motivated right now. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and suddenly feel like taking on the world. And if you wait for that moment, you'll stay exactly where you are. Motivation isn't what gets you out of rock bottom. Action is. Even if you don't feel like it. Even if you're exhausted. Even if everything inside you is screaming. What's the point? You take a step anyway, and then another, and then another. It doesn't matter how small. What matters is that you're moving, because movement creates momentum. And once you have momentum, everything changes.
You start where you are, with what you have. Don't try to fix everything at once. Focus on the smallest, most manageable step you can take today. If you're drowning in regret, start by forgiving yourself, just a little. If you feel weak, start by proving to yourself that you're not. One workout, one challenge, one promise kept. If you feel lost, start by doing one thing that brings even the smallest sense of direction. Reading, learning, asking for help. You don't need to rebuild your entire life in one day. You just need to lay one brick every day. And eventually, you'll look up and realize you've built something unshakable. You have two choices. You can let rock bottom be the reason you stay down, or you can let it be the reason you rise. The world will tell you that you're broken, that your mistakes define you, that you'll never recover. But you don't have to accept that story. You get to write a new one. Adopt the mindset of a warrior. A warrior doesn't ask, why did this happen to me? A warrior asks, what am I going to do about it? A warrior doesn't wait for things to get easier. They train in the fire. They use the pain, the anger, the loss, not as shackles, but as fuel. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start seeing yourself as a fighter, the game changes.
Pain can do one of two things. It can destroy you, or it can transform you. The difference is how you use it. Use the heartbreak to become stronger. Use the failure to become wiser. Use the betrayal to become sharper. Pain isn't something to numb or run from. It's raw energy. It's fire. And if you channel it, if you harness it, if you use it, it becomes power. The people who do great things in life, they didn't avoid pain. They turned it into fuel. Think back to the version of you who hit rock bottom. The one who felt lost, hopeless, like they had nothing left. Now ask yourself, what did they need? Did they need someone to remind them they were stronger than they thought? Did they need proof that this wasn't the end? Did they need someone to show them that survival wasn't just possible? It was inevitable? Be that person. Not just for yourself, but for others. The ones who are still lost, still hurting.
This isn't about a one-time comeback. This isn't about getting back to where you were before. This is about becoming something more, because life will knock you down again. That's a guarantee. But the difference now, you know how to rise. And once you know that, once you've done it, once you've felt the power of standing up after falling, you become unstoppable. You don't rise because it's easy. You don't rise because you feel like it. You rise because you refuse to stay down. Because this moment, this pain, this rock bottom, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your greatest chapter. So stand up, take the first step, and rise again and again and again until you become the person you were always meant to be.
Who determines when it's up for you? When we say this cannot be accomplished, this cannot be done, then we are shortchanging ourselves.
And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, there were a lot of days where I did not want to get out of bed. And I guarantee you, if I ask the question here, if everybody is excited to get out of bed every single day, if I saw a hand, I'm going to blatantly call you a liar. But if you have those little small goals, those little small things that get you excited when you don't want to, it's going to make it even better and even easier at the end. It's going to make it so much easier. And I think if you look at the greats in anything that, in any walk of life, the greats do things when they don't always want to. And that's the separation.
You don't seem to understand. Your success is not a matter of chance. It is not a matter of if you are skilled enough, or strong enough, or even brave enough. Let me ask you a question. Where exactly do you think this vision you have for your future comes from? And not only that, but the desire to go and pursue this vision. Do you truly think that something so pure could just stumble its way into existence? I don't think you do. In fact, I know that you feel otherwise. This relationship that you have with this vision for a better you, a better life that fulfills you, is intimate. That raw feeling, nothing so pure could ever be a total accident.
Every single morning when you wake up, you repeat to yourself, in every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better.
And every day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. You have to consciously reprogram your subconscious mind to decode and deconstruct the self-limiting beliefs, the self-doubts, the ideas and the opinions of other people that have negatively impacted you and have held you down your whole life.
If not you, then who, bro? I'll tell you what your problem is, bro. You don't think highly enough of yourself. You don't really believe you're capable to do it. Well, there's a million other motherfuckers that wish they could have your spot, and yet you're taking yours for granted. I'll ask you again. If not you, then who? Nobody, bro. Nobody. Take care.
Every single great thing that's ever been created in the history of the world was created by a human being. And guess what you are? You are a human being, just like them. You have access to more information, to more skill set, to faster learning than anybody who has ever existed before you in the history of Earth. So what is it about you that makes you incapable compared to everybody else? And I'm going to give you the answer. The answer is nothing. The answer is the belief in your ability to achieve and become things that nobody you have ever seen in your own universe has done. And that is our limiting belief.
But the only way for you to continue to evolve and to really step into everything that is meant for you, you have to be willing to embrace the discomfort of something new. You have to. You have to be willing to embrace the discomfort of leaving what's known. But understand that those feelings and those emotions aren't because you can't do it. It's because you're stepping into something that is not the norm, and that is going to bring you feelings of discomfort. That's going to bring you sometimes frustration and a lack of clarity, right? And sometimes feelings of anxiety and like, I don't know. Trust it. All those emotions are just signs that you're stepping out of your comfort zone into something new that isn't known, and that is very uncomfortable. But it's a part of the process. It's a part of shifting into a more aligned, authentic version of yourself.
The human brain cannot comprehend the negative. It is incapable. Can't tell the human brain not to do something, right? And so what happens is we very often reinforce things when we put things in the negative, right? I can't get apart. I can't do this. Versus, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this, right? It's the same thing for you. If you focus on the obstacles, all you will see is obstacles. If you focus on the path through the trees, all you will see is path through the trees. It's your choice how you choose to perceive your own career. It's literally perspective.
If you give your all every day, your gifts will make room for you. And it's like having a knowingness that things are going to be fine. And then there's the next level, which is you start to know who you are. You're not trying to prove it to yourself or other people. It's the difference between what I would call push motivation and pull. Push is, I'm going to make this happen. And it takes tremendous willpower. And I know you have plenty of willpower. I do as well. But there's a limit to willpower. But there's no limit to pull. Pull is when there's something magnificent that you want to serve, something that you've got an obsession for. You don't lose that energy. You don't lose those components, and you're able to laugh and enjoy along the way.
The fear is never reaching your potential. That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man and you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
I sacrifice everything what I have. I will sleep, train, eat, repeat, and that's it.
Obsession?
Yeah. I think it's not about DNA. I think more than blood, I think it's about mental, your brain, how you think about this. How there is like, you want this or no? There is not like 50-50. It's like, okay, I want this and I want other. You cannot, there is like not between. You have to be in somewhere.
It's black and white.
Yeah.
I think one of the hardest things to hear after you don't get your way is keep working. But it's also one of the only solutions to be successful. You're not going to get your way most of the time in your life. Just keep working. Hard work pays off, no one tells you when. You'll never know the true feeling of accomplishment if you've never faced a setback. You'll never know the true meaning of confidence if you never had to bounce back from anything. Just keep working. You're not getting what you want, keep working. You are getting what you want, keep working. One thing's for sure, overthinking's overrated.
For every time you set your alarm and then sleep in, someone else is obeying it. For every time you say you should go to the gym but then don't, someone else is breathing heavy. For every dish that you should wash but instead let pile up in the sink and become a headache for later, someone else isn't compelled by the same laziness. I know this because that someone else is me. Every decision you make is an opportunity to build respect for yourself. And every opportunity that you pass up on is just another piece of evidence that you are not the person you say you want to be.
We let our feelings dictate what we do. And we have to do the opposite if you want to change. You have to lead with the actions that align with the way you want to feel after you've done the actions. You have to take action first, because if you allow your feelings of, I'm tired, I don't feel like it, it's hopeless, why bother, that feeling will dictate you doing nothing. And that's going to keep you on the right side of that page. If you just look at that list that you created of all the things that you know you should be doing that would just uptick your happiness slightly or make you slightly healthier, slightly this or slightly that, then act like the person on the left-hand side of the page. And then every time you take that action, your feelings will fall in line and you'll start to feel more like that person.
For you to constantly win, when this voice over here, the real you, is saying, get out of here. Go. You're nobody. You've always been nobody. And it's true. People don't hear that. That's a true voice. That's the real reality of David Goggins at 24 years old. It's not a false reality. And then you had to create another voice over here that is saying you're better than that other voice. And you're in the freezing cold water that both voices don't want to be in. But you win. Then goes from the water to the studying, to the running, to losing weight, to how you eat, to how you function as a man. Every day of your life, you're winning these battles.
You have a choice. You can go for it. Or you can just watch it go by. But I'll tell you this. Failure only exists in a heart that doesn't try. Don't be the person that lives but never feels alive. Be the person that knows the sky isn't the limit because they wasn't afraid to fly. You might not be in control of how you die, but I promise you, you're in control of how you live.
There's 3 decisions you're making every moment of your life. You're making it right now. Everyone's listening is making these 3 decisions. You might be making them unconsciously, so then your life is driven by the environment. First decision is, what are you going to focus on? Are you going to focus on what you have or what's missing? And if you're focused on what's missing, that can make you grow. But if that's what you focus on continuously and you add one more pattern, it'll create frustration, anger, sadness, or even depression. And the second pattern is, which one of these do you more? Do you focus more on what you can control or can't control? If you go in a pattern of focusing on what you can't control and what's missing, the stress inside of you is always going to be there. Because think about it. There's plenty of things that aren't missing, and there's plenty of things you can control. But when you're focused on what I can't do and what's missing from my life, there's an emptiness. Now, here's the third one. You tend to focus more, I think we do all 3, but more on the past, the present, or the future. If you're focused on what I can control, what I already have that's beautiful in my life, and what's happening right now that's beautiful, or what I'm going to create, you're not going to have that level of stress. You'll still have problems, but you're not going to have the anger or the sadness or the overwhelm.
It's never too late. If you're alive, you can get better. If you're alive right now, you can improve your condition. You can improve your situation, and it starts with improving the way you think. That's the most important thing. The way you think of things, the way you think of things, the way you address things, you've got to change that.
life has a way of pulling you in every direction. We're told to fight, to push, to hustle for control over every detail, as if that's the only way to create the life we want. We cling to plans, to expectations, to the idea that if we just hold on tight enough, everything will go our way. But here's the truth. Life doesn't work like that. No matter how much you plan, no matter how hard you fight, there will always be things you can't control. And the more you resist, the harder life pushes back. What if, instead of fighting against life, you surrendered to it? Not in defeat, not in apathy, but in trust. Trust that even when things don't go the way you imagined, they can still go the way they're meant to. When you stop resisting, when you let go of the illusion of control, you find something unexpected. You find peace. You find clarity. You find freedom.
The illusion of control. We're taught to believe that control equals safety. That if we just plan hard enough, prepare long enough, and hold on tight enough, we can avoid pain, failure, uncertainty. But control is a myth. You can't control how other people act. You can't control what the world throws at you. You can't control the unexpected twists and turns that life will inevitably bring. What you can control is how you respond. Your mindset, your actions, your ability to adapt. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you free yourself from the anxiety, the frustration, the constant battle against reality. You shift your focus to what really matters, your growth, your resilience, your ability to create meaning no matter the circumstances.
What does surrender really mean? Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop trying, stop caring, or stop putting in the effort. Surrender means releasing your grip on what you can't control. It means letting go of the need for life to look a certain way, and trusting that even if it doesn't, you'll still be okay. It's about flowing with life instead of fighting against it. About understanding that the storm you're in isn't trying to destroy you. It's trying to shape you. And when you stop resisting, you give yourself the chance to grow.
Resistance is exhausting. It's the mental battle we fight every time life doesn't go the way we planned. It's the frustration, the anger, the endless cycle of, why is this happening to me? Letting go of resistance doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop wasting energy on things you can't change. It means accepting what is, so you can focus on what you can do next. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to that's keeping me stuck? What would happen if I let it go? One of the hardest things to do is to fully accept where you are right now, especially if it's not where you want to be. But acceptance isn't about settling. It's about recognizing the reality of your situation so you can move forward with clarity and purpose. When you accept the present moment, you stop fighting against reality. You stop wishing things were different and start working with what you have. And in that acceptance, you find the freedom to take meaningful action.
Surrender isn't about passivity. It's about focusing your energy where it matters. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to grow, to adapt, to create something beautiful out of the chaos. Instead of wasting energy on what's out of your hands, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now to move forward? Even the smallest step can create momentum. Life doesn't always make sense in the moment. Sometimes it feels unfair. Sometimes it feels chaotic. But when you look back, you realize that the things that felt like detours were actually leading you to where you were meant to be. Trusting the process doesn't mean you won't face challenges. It doesn't mean everything will go smoothly. It means believing that no matter what happens, you'll find a way to grow, to learn, to create meaning from it. It means trusting yourself, your strength, your resilience, your ability to adapt.
When you stop trying to control everything, you find peace. Not because life gets easier, but because you're no longer wasting energy on battles you can't win. Letting go is freeing. It allows you to stop carrying the weight of things you were never meant to hold. It allows you to redirect your energy toward what truly matters: your growth, your purpose, your ability to live fully in the moment. Here's the paradox. The moment you let go of control, you gain it. Not control over life, but control over yourself. Control over your mindset, your emotions, your ability to move forward no matter what. Surrender doesn't mean giving up your power. It means taking it back. It means choosing to live fully, even in the face of uncertainty. It means finding freedom, not in controlling life, but in trusting it. The tighter you hold on, the more life slips through your fingers. But when you let go, when you stop fighting, stop resisting,